Get this. The 1920s, immediately before the Great Depression, were defined by record debt, runaway stock market valuations, and deep political and social tensions. Like the 2020s now, the 1920s was a time of rapid technological change, cultural divides, and a belief that the current hyperinflated market had no limits. The current market average is more than 3 standard deviations above its historical mean, signaling an overvalued market. A statistical red zone that rarely ends softly. Social and political tensions in the 1920s raged unchecked. Major controversies are also familiar, including backlash against immigration, political corruption, race, and religion. And Washington's nativist laws reflected fear of change, just as today's politics reveal fear of automation, migration, and global realignment. As the U.S. entered 1929, it was already divided, economically, culturally, and politically. The cracks beneath the prosperity were there. They just weren't being heard yet. And the U.S. economy was euphoric. The Dow Jones had soared nearly 500% since 1921. The CAPE ratio, a key valuation measure, hit 30, an all-time record. Investors believed that boom and bust cycles were a thing of the past. Today, history is repeating itself. As of 2025, the current CAPE ratio is over 39.5. This value is considered extremely high. The fact is, near historic highs and significantly above the long-term average of around 16 to 17. This suggests high valuations for the U.S. stock market and surpassing both 1929 and the dot-com bubble. The current Buffett indicator is approximately 215.6% as of September 2025, which signals, again, a significantly overvalued market. The household radio introduced by RCA was the internet and AI of its day. The skyrocketing value of RCA's stock in the 1920s was directly tied to its immense popularity, like AI today. Just as RCA symbolized the promise of technology a century ago, today's optimism is pinned to AI giants, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Alphabet, Meta, Amazon, and Tesla, now responsible for over 1/3 of the S&P 500's total value. Speculation drove the roaring 20s. Investors bought stocks on margin, borrowing up to 90% of each share's price. By 1929, margin debt had exploded to 12% of GDP. Today, stock market investors are currently borrowing to invest at record high levels, using guess what? Margin debt. This increased borrowing introduces significant risk. According to data from the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, customer margin debt from August 2025 shows a record high of over $1 trillion. This is an increase of 3.6% from the previous month and is 32.9% higher than it was 1 year ago. In the 12 months leading up to August 2025, margin debt rose by nearly 33%. For historical context, analysts point out that the recent surge in borrowing ranks among the most aggressive increases on record, similar to periods that preceded market downturns in 2000 and 2008. Compared to the 1920s, today is under the influence of the same psychology. Millions of retail investors now gamble on the overvalued stock market through apps, memes, and AI-driven hype. The 1929 Great Depression began long before the crash. It began with easy credit. Between 1923 and 1929, consumer installment loans surged 600%, funding a lifestyle Americans couldn't sustain. When the income stopped, the defaults started. Today, the same dynamic drives the 2020s economy. As of the second quarter of 2025, total U.S. household debt is $18.39 trillion, which is a record high. Credit card balances top $1.2 trillion. Delinquencies have reached 12.27%, the highest since 2011. It's the same illusion, just digitized. Every bubble is protected by faith that policymakers can defy gravity. In the 1920s, the Fed held rates near 3% to keep credit flowing. In the 2020s, central banks injected over $5 trillion after COVID, inflating the asset superbubble. By 2025, U.S. public debt hit $38 trillion, 135% of GDP. Annual interest payments exceed $1 trillion, larger than the entire defense budget. This is not sustainable economics. The Depression was never just about markets. It was about people. By 1933, unemployment hit 25%, banks collapsed, savings disappeared, faith in democracy faltered. In Germany, economic despair paved the path to Hitler. Today, a different kind of anxiety is spreading. AI threatens jobs. Housing is unaffordable. Wealth is concentrated in fewer hands than at any time since 1929. 70% of Americans say the system unfairly favors the powerful. This sentiment has been captured in polls by Frameworks Institute, Pew Research Center, and Ipsos. Polarization is the new prohibition, dividing families, friends, and nations. The 1930s saw a world turn inward. Trade wars, currency wars, and eventually real wars. Today, sanctions, supply chain decoupling, and AI arms races are redrawing the map once again. Global debt reached a record high of nearly $338 trillion in the second half of 2025. No one can bail out a system that large forever. So, are we truly repeating 1929? The patterns are real: speculation, credit reliance, and cultural division. The names and technologies have changed, but the psychology has not. History doesn't warn us for nostalgia's sake. It warns us so we can act, before we circle back to repeat. What do you think? Are we in another 1929 moment? Or is this real-time data just noise? Leave your thoughts below and subscribe for more data-driven analysis on the forces shaping the 2030 Great Depression as predicted by the experts.